Small window of when the sun and Mercury are at those exact matching degrees where Mercury is empowered and the information is clear. So December 2nd and the following 7 days. Oh, you see Taffy. We got Taffy here. Welcome. This is Taffy and G. You're watching Allastrology. We're going to take a walk through the week of December 2nd. Yep. So on this chart, you see Black Moon Lilith here. You see Venus next to Pluto. You see Mars. You see the South Node. There's another week here where there's a lot happening. And you know this week, December 2nd, so that means 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. For those of you who've been following along on the weekly videos and you've been watching all the uploads, you kind of already have an understanding of what's coming, right? Because there's been all the videos that have gone out to talk about specific movements of planets, and there's a lot of retrograding happening. With that said, we're just going to kind of start there. We're going to focus on Mercury in Sagittarius, and you see the sun is there as well. So there's Mercury and there's the sun. And yeah, Taffy just kind of bailed. She's like, so you're not going to put your hands on me? All right. So Sagittarius ascendant, the beliefs about the judicial system, the justice system. This is, we think of Supreme Court and judges and courtrooms, a lot of that, especially for us in the States. That's who we are. Mercury is the news, social media. It's what we're talking about, what we're thinking about. The thing about Sagittarius is it is usually a bit optimistic and courageous, might be overconfident, can be dreamy and idealistic. And there's something there about the future. We often speak about it in terms of like kind of saggy type of energy, as in saggy / sage. Like they're the sage. It is a very philosophical, a very spiritual, a very religious, possibly, vibration. Just depends on where you're at on that, on your soul's journey and stuff, right? So Mercury is already retrograding. It's in red here. It's already retrograding. So the retrograde began a week ago. That would have been on the previous video. It began around 21, 22 degrees of Saggy, hence this red line. This is going to show us where Mercury began its retrograde and then where it goes back to. So Mercury's going retrograding back, is it 6 degrees, I want to say? There's so many retrogrades happening at the same time. It's like, can you keep track? So yeah, Mercury goes back to 6 degrees, retrograding, which means an intensification of the thoughts and the mind and the communications, likely from public figures, spiritual leaders, people in politics, for sure. This can have to do with airlines and traveling as well. We're in the month of December, right? Everybody knows November, December, people are traveling, people are going home, friends, family, what have you. The number 18 all by itself, I won't spend a lot of time because this is not very long that it stays at this degree. To start the week off, the number 18, and with that Virgo degree, it's a mind degree because there's a lot of details. So we have to take a minute before we speak. We have to think before we speak. Gemini, ruled by Mercury, news cycles, information, family, homes, stock market, the real estate, women, and the mother wound. And in our society, we have come to get the news and the information so quick, so fast, so furious that when there's a delay in speech, right? If someone's not speaking quickly, we're automatically like, okay, they've lost their mind. They don't know what they're talking about. They can't find their words. Sure, there can be some of that in there because there's definitely confusion in Sagittarius because Jupiter is the ruler of this, right? So there can definitely be confusion. And with that confusion and the Virgo degree, the main thing with this is that Mercury's going backwards. So as it goes backwards, it's going to go to 17, then 16, then 15. And this means the sun's going to go forward, which means these two will meet up, right? They're going to meet up and they will be conjunct. There's kind of a concentration of energy. You're going to see the sun and the Mercury meeting up Wednesday and Thursday, but that's not all. Like Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, like between Wednesday and Saturday is intense energy because there's a lot of things in the chart happening at those same times and making connections. Okay. So we know that Mars on the 6th begins a retrograde, right? That's intense all on its own. But Mercury and the Sun making a connection starting on the 4th, Wednesday. And then by Thursday, they're both sitting exactly at 14. Now, I think this is going to be a big deal for anybody who's got to be sitting in front of a judge or anybody who's waiting on judgments. For those people, especially public figures, this will be big because what we have here, if you look across the chart in Gemini, because that's the opposition, is Jupiter sitting there at 16. You see? So Mercury and the Sun are going to be in a conjunction, and that's while they're in a strong opposition with Jupiter. The Sun and Jupiter are both authority figures. Public figures with authority, the public, emotional security, values, desires, banking, global authoritarians, and corporations too. So there's something here between Wednesday and Friday, Wednesday and Saturday, because the kind of energy and the intensity of it spans for that amount of time. All right. So that means the Sun and Mercury, intense communications about authority figures, somebody who wants to be an authority figure, somebody who is in the spotlight. This might even be with Supreme Court figures, possibly even. But federal cases, too, are probably going to be part of this story, no doubt, because there's so much power. It's the Sun in Saggy. Remember, Saggy rules Jupiter. So you've got somebody of immense power over here, right? With the Sun and Saggy energy mixed. This is also people on Capitol Hill, right? These are also the people who are supposed to be, writing bills, getting laws passed, and making things happen for the people. People who are they're supposed to be representing the people. So your Congress members, people in the House of Representatives, those are the ones where it's their job to write bills. What is combust and or cazimi? The big conjunction, though, at 14 degrees is values. Values. And so that concentration is Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. So the Mercury and the Sun, normally the communication and the information with Mercury in the mind is weakened anytime Mercury gets close to the Sun. We call it combust. Like the power of the communication and the talking gets all frazzled. Everything on my end, I know for sure, gets super glitchy. My devices are all crazy. I might videos just get lost. Like I was getting information from YouTube that entire channels were disappearing off of the platform. Entire channels were being removed and deleted by YouTube. Like they sent me a message saying, if your channel was affected. And I'm thinking, holy shit, I can only imagine if my entire channel disappeared. That's a possibility. They're saying that some mistakes are being made and they're trying to rectify something. So I'm putting that out there just in case something like that happens and you all of a sudden don't see my channel. That's a possibility. They're trying to get rid of people who have phony accounts. Anyway, I don't need to go into the details, but there's a lot of ghost channels. I'll put it that way. Bots and ghost channels. There's a lot of bad actors, and this is this energy. You can be a bad actor as a political figure or somebody who's in charge abusing their power, someone who's supposed to be working for the people and really not doing a damn thing, or someone who is really behind the scenes. And behind the scenes can also mean behind the scenes in another country and their involvement. Absolutely, because that's Jupiter across the pond. So there's a lot of different ways this can look. And then there's also the folks here in America who are being influenced by some of those bad actors across the pond, even though they can literally just be bots, right? They don't have to literally be a human doing the things. It can literally be someone, where there's some programming involved and other other viewers and commenters engaging with bots, reading that information and it kind of fueling them and enraging them even, and getting them to share that new truth they've discovered or these new catchphrases, whatever it is. So there's a lot, I think, that's happening. And so the Mercury and the Sun conjunction, Mercury gets a little fuzzy the day before, like Monday and Tuesday. But come Wednesday and Thursday, that is where the information coming through on Mercury is empowered. Anytime we're in that cazimi combust area where Mercury's getting burnt up from the sun's power, there's a small window of when the sun and Mercury are at those exact matching degrees where Mercury is empowered and the information is clear and true. It is a small window though, but all you got to know is that degree. I'm sorry, I think I said 15, the 14 degree. And for me, that hits on December 5th, Thursday. So that is the day before Mars goes retrograde. Now, before we get to that Mars going retrograde, on the same day of the Sun and Mercury, we have Venus at a critical degree in Capricorn, 28, 29 degrees conjunct Sirius. And Pluto is sitting over here at 0 degrees in Aquarius, right? And right after Capricorn comes Aquarius. So there's a big conjunction with these three in reality. So this chart is the chart for Monday. Okay. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that this Venus by Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, Wednesday, you got Venus and Sirius sitting here together. So to me, they're definitely already touching and communicating because there's two of them. So they're already talking to Pluto. They're already in communication with Pluto. Pluto is about power because it is Venus and Sirius in Capricorn. It's structure, it's order, it's rules and regulations. There are there's a reason that there's rules. There's a reason that there's law. There's a reason that there's timelines and regulations that have to be followed. These things are set up for long-term security, financial stability. It's about things that we're building, so physical structures too. And the 28 and the 29 degree, it's that critical degree because Pluto is sitting at 0 critical degree, right? Yeah. So shocks and surprises and power, values, Venus, disciplined Venus, feminine energy, double feminine energy because you've got Venus and Sirius together. Sirius, feminine energy. This is food. This is how I feel nurtured. I need for shit to make sense. I need to see it logical. It needs to be organized and structured. Like that's serious. I feel safe and secure. I can see my future. I can see how I'm headed towards my future. I can see the next step in front of us, in front of me, because there's order, there's rules, and all the rules apply to everybody. Yes, we know there's abuses. There's always going to be abuses in any system and anywhere at any time. But when you belong within a society, there is an established thing called the law of the land, the rules of the land. And this is how the society functions. So without creating 1,000 other conversations and splitting hairs, there is just a basic need for structure, order, and government within an organized society, within an advanced civilization. That's how that works. So Venus and Sirius and then Pluto, right? Pluto says, I'm about changes. Gold and silver prices likely get a boost with global economies, political changes, and tensions. I'm about changes on a very deep level. So typically, when you have Aquarius energy, this is also group energy, my friends, but it is also about social services. That's Aquarius energy. It's about power, but it's like personal power. So we see authoritarians rising up, but we also see like the electric grid. We also see like energy storage and alternative power, literally, like different forms, wind and solar. And like there's a lot of different things that science and technology, Aquarius, inventions, Aquarius, there's a lot of this energy that is moving and shaking and hopefully making our planet a better and safer place. And we just hopefully are going to get on track with that so that we can live in harmony. Because Venus, after all, in an earth sign, but is the ruler of Taurus, the ruler of the earth, the freaking rock we live on, the rock that supplies your oxygen and air and water and food. Right. So I'm liking this mixture, but it does mean change. This is a powerful time. This is Wednesday of this week. Remember, it's when the sun and Mercury are not only conjunct, but they're in an exact opposition with Jupiter. So, likely hearing about public figures and judgments, but then also this is a factor here. Venus and Ceres, the rule of law and accountability, because that's Pluto. Pluto is like if you abused your power, I'm here. I'm back. And the bell is tolling. It's a slow process. It brings back up a strong, fierce, independent energy and a lot of rebelliousness too rises up. Now, with that said, we then go to Mars this week. So Wednesday, Thursday, Mars is at 6 degrees, right? And it actually is at 6 degrees the entire week. Let's be real about that because it sits still, even though it hasn't begun the retrograde. It just has to sit there because it goes anytime a planet's about to go retrograde, it goes really slow. So that degree matters. Take a look at that 6 degree. See if you have anything in the fixed signs at 6 degrees. So take a look at what's on the screen right now. We've got Mars in the Leo at 6, standing still, ready to go backwards. And at 4 degrees, you see in Aries there is the North Node in Aries, both fire, which means the following week, the following 2 weeks, the next 14 days, Mars's retrograde will trine the North Node in Aries, a big increase in fire and taking initiative with something and taking action and physical body and possibly weapons or people who carry weapons. This could be soldier energy as well. Because if you've been going through some stress and some tension, you know why. Because Mars has just been sitting here, drilling down, just sitting here. And if this is impulsive energy, this is angry energy. This is, I want to fight. I'm easily irritated. Get the hell away from me. It wants its independence. You can't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. Leo energy is childlike, but Mars is also a child. So I bring this up because we need to probably recognize within ourselves, not necessarily pointing fingers at others, because we will all experience this in some way. Mars is the ruler of Aries, very childlike energy. That's who Mars is. But Leo can be very childlike. It likes to play games. It likes to laugh. So if it hasn't taken it up a notch where it's literally like a professional comedian or it's creative and can entertain in some way, like it may use that I want to have fun and play game energy in a different way, especially with Mars there, because wherever Mars is, we take action. Now, this can be sports, right? We could play games that way. It can go like that. It's also taking risks. Some people might be like, "Oh, I'm going to play the lottery," but for many, it can, like I said, play sports or sports betting, even, right? Lots of different ways you can gamble. Many times, it's gambling with my body, taking risks with my body, doing things I wouldn't normally do. Mars in Leo. Health is part of it because it's the Virgo degree. So it's the details, it's the minutia, it's the day-to-day work routine. So your jobs, your tasks, your projects at work. Keep that in mind. All right. Because this is feisty ass energy here. Remember, I don't have any patience and I might even be a little on the juvenile side. I might say things I wouldn't normally say, especially if you have anything in Aquarius or Leo at the 0 degree, because Pluto's sitting there at 0. Okay, so there's a lot being affected, especially for those who might have something at 0 in the fixed signs, right? Because Pluto at 0 squares Leo, opposes Leo, but it's stress and tension to Taurus energy. It's stress and tension to 0 degrees of Scorpio energy. Just the 0 though, okay? Because it's, you know, it's a slow mover, and so the 0 degree matters. That 0 is gonna be where you'll recognize it. Now, for this week, yeah, the Pluto and the Venus, I have it marked between the 4th and the 7th is their conjunction. Okay. So when you get to the 6th and the 7th, right? The 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th, well, Mars is retrograding and Venus is sitting and holding hands with Pluto. Once we hit the 8th, Venus has moved away from Pluto already. You see? So that timeline between the 4th and the 7th are big. But I see it possibly because remember, this is science and technology, inventions, but it's authority figures, authoritarians making their moves. So recognize what an authoritarian is. A lot of people are throwing words around. They might not know the definition of some of those words. You got to recognize, you just got to go back old school and go pick up a goddamn dictionary and read the words and figure out that words have meanings. They aren't the meanings of what somebody tells you they mean. So you kind of got to maybe do some homework because it's with Mercury and Saggy, uh, information and communication and words having meanings and definitions. It might be confusing. So this isn't to be funny or poke fun at somebody. Trust me, in the last few months, I have been pulling out the dictionary more than usual. Like that used to be one of my strong points. And I'm recognizing in the last year, it has not been anymore. I don't know how to spell. I'm like, okay, so I thought I knew the meaning of that word. Now all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank, right? And so yeah, don't hesitate. Pull up your damn dictionaries, even if especially if you have a dictionary on a shelf somewhere, a real book for sure. Because online, you got to make sure it's a trusted source that you're using that is a diction. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of phoniness going on, and people use Wikipedia left and right like it's God. And it's like, wait a minute. Um, I don't know, but I don't know if Wikipedia finally made a change, but the last I knew, you could go into Wikipedia. I can go into Wikipedia and edit it and throw in whatever information I want. Now, it's possible maybe they've made some changes because people probably, I don't know. Maybe they haven't made changes. I'm going all over the place at this point right now. But the point is, you just got to do some homework. You got to do some homework to get your stuff straight and to be confident in what you're saying because you did your work. There's a difference as opposed to so and so told me so. So, the big story of this week is it's a power week and the Venus and Pluto conjunction, Venus then staying in Aquarius by the following Monday, Venus gets to 2 degrees. Okay, by the following Monday, Venus is at 2. All right. Um, I have the sun over here at 17, 18 degrees. That's by the following Monday. The sun hits 18, but it's the Thursday Friday thing there, right? Where the sun is touching in because remember that Thursday Friday energy is when you've got Mercury had just pulled away from the sun, but then you've got Venus and Sirius and Pluto, right? Friday, Venus, Sirius, and Pluto on Friday sitting together, like just holding hands, sitting together, holding hands. So changes, usually public figures, governmental figures, possibly people in Congress, corporations, corporations. And I want to add here that there might even be something about the medicine and the drugs and the pharmaceutical industry, even because, this is science and there's a place for science, but in every field, there are abuses in every because there's humans everywhere. And so there's always going to be somebody who, abuses their power and abuses just whatever it is their work is that they're doing. There's always bad apples. That's the way it works. Venus being here in the money and the values and the group energy, but this is seniors as well. And again, social services. Okay. But when we talk about the pharmaceutical industry, and corporations, that's kind of this energy, Capricorn, the corporations. And so there's that mixture there. There's that mixture. And we'll see. I know the DOJ brought charges, I believe, against some bad actors for some pharmaceuticals. I don't know all the details of it, but I just heard I heard a news report, a quick news report across the AP about it. And so we'll see what comes of it by December. Maybe there's more information. And I don't know a whole lot, but this could also be something there with that. Friday going into Saturday, Mars is in retrograde. I've got a video about it. I've been talking about this for months. Mars retrograde starts at 6 degrees here, and it goes all the way back to 17 degrees in Cancer. So I will attach that video down below. If you haven't seen it, you would want to go watch it to just kind of get a better understanding of Mars energy. And in a retrograde of any kind, there's an intensification of something. All right. And then we're going backwards. Like we're traveling back because Mars is actions. The nodes are on the chart. The nodes move from 4, which is feminine energy. The degree is 4, right? Where we got the nodes on here. At 4 degrees, got them circled. 4 degrees in cardinal signs. They're going to stay in cardinal until 2025. That's not long, folks. We're on the countdown. Here we are in December, right? So we're counting down 20 days for the nodes to move, and they're starting to move fast now. Here we go. They were going slow at 6 and 5 and 4. And this is it. These next 2 weeks, these nodes will move from 4 and they'll go into Virgo. Right. I'll have separate videos. I'm not sure when you'll see them. If I have them up already, I'll put them down below. You're going to want to see because the nodes spend 18 months. 18 months in their new signs, which means 18 months in a new location in your chart. Virgo and Pisces. All right. Jupiter goes from 16 to 15 degrees. I know I didn't mention this, my bad, or maybe I did. It's at 16, but it does go to 15. So it changes its vibration. Remember, this is a slow mover. So that will matter on where we're seeing judgments and rulings and justice, and also our philosophy on life and our beliefs about our future. Okay, the beliefs about our future, that's Jupiter. Our spiritual beliefs, the freedoms of our body. So again, this change happens like on Sunday and Monday that Jupiter makes this change. So the 16 degrees, just so we're clear, that 16 degrees, the transition that we're going to see happening, this is home and family and women. Think of Cancer energy. Think of the 4th house, 16 degrees, women. By Sunday and Monday, it goes to 15. It goes to news. It goes to the Mercury degree, Gemini. Think Gemini when you see 15 degrees. I know somebody recently asked me about the shortcut in astrology, the degrees. So again, if you just watch any videos in their entirety, I usually explain it. But if you're not watching the videos, and I'm sorry that you're not watching them in entirety, I wish I could figure out a way to make the videos interesting. Yeah, I don't know how to leave out information and have it make sense. To me, it makes sense when we have all the information in front of us because then it adds up. That's the way my brain works. It's like, but there's information missing. Don't leave that out. That matters. For some folks, it's just too many details. They don't have the whatever, the patience or the mindset for it. They're like, just give me the information. Okay. Either way, just think news, think information, talking, communication, networking. This is business though. Think of the stock market. Think of the housing market. Jupiter at 15 degrees. Stock market, the housing market. It's in a retrograde. So, probably interest rates got moved possibly in November. But then there's also the talk and the communication with people in politics because there has to be a bill passed so that there's not a government shutdown. And I think the deadline is a mid-month of December. Right. So that takes us to the Monday and look what happens. That's where we're at. We're at the communication and the news and being able to compromise and make a deal and to talk things through and get the job done already. Right. So that wraps this week up, guys. If you need more details, ask questions, comment below, and I will see you in the next video. I appreciate your time and take care. Bye-bye. I know I almost said I love you, and I would love to be like, oh, yeah, I love you. But, you're like, gee, you don't even know me. What are you saying? I love you. Well, I hear you. It's cliche, it's fake, it's phony, but yeah, I wanted to say it anyway. So there you go. That's how you got it. Bye bye. I want to make a mention here that she starts the week off in Libra energy, relationships, but then she goes into Scorpio energy and she ends off at 13 degrees. And that 13 degrees is a Mars degree. And that's important because Mars rules Scorpio along with Pluto. And we know from what you just watched, Mars and Pluto are big players this week. They are at the table and they're part of all the big conversations that are going on. So, with Black Moon Lilith being the subconscious part of our personality, some say the shadow side of it, something we don't want to admit to or own, sort of a trait that we have, you can think of some of the Scorpio keywords that are more of the vices and not the virtues, right? Some people think that Scorpio energy can be, yeah, it's a warrior, but sometimes, it can take it to another level of you know, of fanaticism, which is like, there's this higher power and there's this higher reason of what the fight is for. I often connect it to the Crusades, where it was like, okay, so you believe in God and you believe in heaven and hell, and yet you're killing people because they won't align with your beliefs, but yet you somehow justified it because you feel like you're fighting for the higher power. You follow? So now this does not mean that each one of us experiences that in that way. That's just my example. Okay. And it's really a deeply psychologically held belief that we have, right? And it's something we probably might not even verbalize or act on. And if we do act on it, we are likely not aware of it because it's Scorpio. It's buried deep. It's hidden, and it can likely be connected to some wounds and vulnerabilities. So just keep that in mind for when the Monday comes around, right? The 7 days out from this video, Black Moon Lilith at 13 degrees in Scorpio.